My little brother was born with medical problems and wasn't expected to live like he has. When I was younger after he was born I was too scared to play with him in fear of hurting him or accidentally pulling one of the tubes out of him or accidentally disconnecting the wires attached to him out of him. As he started to grow she got stronger, but then his and my sister's dad abandoned us. Long story, but we found out their dad is not my thanks to Ancestry DNA. That is when things to a downturn. Again, I love my little brother, I got along with him than our sister that was the middle child while I was the oldest. But when I was 8 years old after their dad abandoned us my mom leaned heavily on me as she taught me how to give my brother his medicine, how to put an ing tube in his nose, hose to fill the bag with his special formula, how to change his diaper, and so on. Things an 8-year-old shouldn't have to do. I also had stopped believing in things that all children were still believing in at that time because my mom told me it wasn't real while my sister and brother got to keep believing in them until they were at the age to know better. As I grew older she put more responsibilities on me by making me be the one in charge of making sure he got on his school bus once he was old enough to go to school and make sure my sister got to her school while I was in middle school. I remember one time I rushed to get him ready because I had overslept on accident and literally handed him to the school bus assistant without his shoes and apologized. I then fought to try to get my sister awake but she wouldn't get up and I decided that if I didn't want to miss my bus I had to go. My sister could walk to school and on mornings I had to walk with her. I would get on my school bus by her school as there was a stop there, but when I didn't, I get on at the one by the house. When I got home I was yelled at because my mom got a phone call from the officer at the school because of my sister missing too much school. I asked my mom, so you rather I miss school to make sure she got to school? My mom replied, yes, you don't miss school so I won't go to jail for you missing school once in a while. That got to me that my education was less important than her making sure her own children got to school. By the time I was in high school my mom wasn't working because she didn't want to. I was working weekends at a flea market to help support the house because she couldn't get AFDC since she wouldn't work. She would sit in her room all day and only came out to cook dinner while I had to come home from school or work, clean the house, take care of my brother, and care for the animals she brought into the home. I wasn't allowed to do anything after school because I had to take care of my brother. By the time I got to the 11th grade I was so burned out between working, school, house chores where I was the only one doing them, caring for my brother, caring for animals I didn't want, deal with schoolmates or coworkers that would vent to me, and having to miss school 2 days every week to go to dialysis with my little brother, I had enough and dropped out of school and quit my job because I couldn't do it anymore. Close to my 18th birthday my mom told me I was giving one of my kidneys to my brother because I was a perfect match. I hated being told that, but I was going to do it until I found out that due to me being underweight from my own medical issues that there was an 80.66% chance of me living, and if I did I would be dependent on people to take care of me. After that when I turned 18 I moved out and away from her and my siblings because I didn't want to put others first anymore. Fast forward to recently, I'm 36, mom is 66, and brother is 31. Mom told me I need you to take care of your brother when I die. I replied with you stole my childhood and teen years for me to care for him. I'm not doing it as a fucking adult. Get someone else to do so or he is going into a nursing home. I'm done. I then quickly left her house before any fighting could break out. So, Ida? Update 1 I can't go NC with my mother otherwise I wouldn't be able to find out how my brother is doing or see him and my godfather. Also, let's not wish death on anyone. Yes, my mother is a horrible mother and she even has recognized and admitted that to people that I only talk to her because she is guardian of my brother and the only reason I will go to her funeral to make sure she is actually dead. Like it greatly upsets me that she realizes this and won't do anything to fix it but does everything to make it worse. About my sister, her and I have low to NC only because we honestly can't be around each other long enough in our young adult years without us getting into fights. Like full-on fist fights. I went NC with her after my oldest niece yelled at me, "Don't hurt my mom." I literally realized I was choking my sister out in that moment and let go while back up and just basically defending myself. That fight started over how she hit our little brother in the back of his head. When I was younger I was always her punching bag because our mother wouldn't get her into therapy and her excuse for letting myself hit me was the doctor says she does it because she is comfortable with expressing herself to us. But the moment I tried to do something like that I'd be the one in trouble and getting beat by our mother. My sister and I only started talking after she agreed to come to a therapy appointment with me and decided after that to get therapy for herself, so we are working through things. She has even told me she realizes I wasn't the problem when we were younger and that our mother was now since going through therapy, so we may be able to salvage our relationship. Yes, CPS was called countless of times. Every email they would leave us with our mother. As I got into middle school she would force me with helping her make sure she didn't lose her moneymaker. My brother, I say this because she benefited from his SSI and any charity that helped him. By telling me if you don't hope you'll never see your brother again as he will be sent into a group home away from you and your sister will get adopted because she is cute. You won't have anyone, and when I fight to get y'all back I will only fight to get your sister and brother back and make sure you never know how they are doing. I know this is mental abuse now along with manipulation. She told me similar when I came back from living 2 years with my sister's and brother's dad and I wanted to go back with him. If you go back you'll never know how your sister and brother are doing. CPS is a real joke. I have watched kids at school personally get taken from good homes and loving parents and put into the foster care system while kids like me slip through the cracks. Sister and brother's dad is not my biological dad from what we found out, thanks to Ancestry DNA back when I was 26. Sister had her and I'd take the test. I then found out after my sister had us do it that her dad is connected to her through the DNA as he had taken it too, but I am not. I don't know who my dad is, and after the mistreatment from both my mother and my siblings' dad, I whether not find out. Yes, I went back to school and got my GED on the first try. I also then went to school for business office administration. I have been a store manager for one company and a T2/mentor/trainer/supervisor for another company, and honestly prefer not having an office job after those experiences. I also recognize I can't work in the service jobs industry due to my PTSD. I'm also diagnosed autistic, but I can live on my own, care for myself, and work. Yes, I do have a few accommodations to help me, like everyone knows I can't handle loud noise or being touched. Henna fire drill is about to happen. I get told to step out of the building 5 minutes before it goes off and to go to my assigned spot before they do it, and no one touches me unless they have to. My job is also awesome to where we have a therapist on site, so if I need to talk to one before my next appointment I go to the one on site. We also have nurses and doctors. We also have a gym that we and our family has free access to. Our job also holds monthly events to help get us all together, and I'm a part of the autism group on site that helps spread awareness about it to other employees. Most of my coworkers never knew I had it until they saw me helping the group at one of the events, but they also told me after finding out that it explains a lot about how I act and carry myself. I have a group of friends that will not let me push them away and does everything to make me not feel like a burden by kidnapping me, especially when I pull away. In fact, this weekend I am being kidnapped by two I hadn't seen in a while and being abducted to Disney. I also work now with Extra Life to raise money for local Children's Miracle Network hospitals to help make sure families of children similar to my brother gets the treatment their loved one needs. Have been a part of it since 2016. I also do Sight for Kids, since it wasn't for the local Lions Club when I was younger I wouldn't have gotten my first pair of glasses that honestly helped me out with being able to learn in school after my 3rd grade teacher said I was unteachable. No, my brother's dad has nothing to do with him, and I much rather take my brother in before I allow that to take him in. Don't want to get into any of that because that is currently a can of worms I'm working through in therapy. I will say this, there was much more abuse that came from my mother than just this part. It was so bad that my grandmother wrote my mother a letter telling her how horrible of a mother she was and that she never deserved to have me. My grandmother was a God-fearing Christian woman, and to see the letter that she had wrote my mom shocked me, because that letter I would have sworn didn't come from my grandmother if my grandmother hadn't have admitted to writing it before her death. I had family members literally try to get custody of me, some I would have loved to live with, while another one was worse than my mother. Update 2: our mom tried to tell my sister she couldn't do that, and my sister said the F I can't. I have years in his POA. I have the power to do what is in the best interest of you and him, and to be frank, if it wasn't for me having it, insert my name, would have had her way a while ago by putting our brother in a nursing home and having you locked up in the nut house, and when you got out into a nursing home. Long reason behind that, just know my mom has never taken care of her health, but honestly has taken care of my brother. Again, it's because I feel like it is because she gets money for caring for him. Needless to say, I don't have to worry about my brother now that I talk to my sister. I also found out she still only talks to our mom because of our brother as well, otherwise she would be NC with mom if she didn't have her POA. Added note, no one in my mom's family likes her, they only tolerate her because of my little brother that everyone cares for, as I have found out. When the 3 of us were younger it was because she had all 3 of us. Thank you everyone for the advice, as it worked me into having that talk with my sister and finding out she had already set all of it up. She didn't plan to tell me though until it happened, and when it did she would tell me where he was at so I could visit and call for him. My sister said she would also talk to me about this more, as she didn't realize how much our mother was leaving me in the dark until hearing my concerns, so there's a happy ending here.